Hey guys, welcome back to another interview here on Toned In Entertainment. Today we are Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum Cancer Benefit here in Dania Beach at the casino. And I'm joined by Steve. How are you doing today, sir?
Good. How are you doing, brother?
Good, good. Now, we talked earlier this week on Instagram, and you said this was actually your first ever wrestling interview ever.
Yeah, very first one, absolutely. I'm very excited for it. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You know, here on Toned In Entertainment, it's nothing but fun. We have a good time. So none of the questions are going to be crazy. We're just going to have a good time. So first, I would like to know, if a train leaves New Mexico at 2:20 p.m.,
Well, you're going to have to think about the mile per hour. You're going to think about... What are you doing,
it's okay, it's okay. You could give any answer, because actually, I wouldn't even know the answer, so we're good to go.
3 o'clock.
3
o'clock.
3 o'clock. The answer was 3 o'clock, so you got the first one right. I told you these questions were not going to be hard.
Just enough time to get here for bell time, which is 4 o'clock. So.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, there's a big show here tonight. We've got Alundra Blaze. We've got Caitlin showing up. I mean, last time Scott Steiner was here, so...
Big Papa Pump.
Yeah, when you come to, like, Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum, not only you get to see great up-and-comers like you, but you get to see a lot of, like, celebrities that we grew up with as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's been nothing but an amazing opportunity. It's an honor to be on the same card as these guys. It's an honor to see them, to watch their work ethic on how they get prepared for a match and how they do up there in the locker room. So it's been awesome.
Right. Now, you're a young guy. What was one of the things that kind of got you into wrestling? Why did you want to, like, become a wrestler?
Man, to be honest with you, it's a long time ago. When I was 5 years old, I got into it because my big brother. I actually watched him play with action figures. That was my first wrestling match, was him, choreographing what's going on. We had a big rivalry when I was a kid. He was a Bret Hart guy. I was a Shawn Michaels guy.
Oh, that's a big rivalry.
Yeah, I can still think about the day that the Iron Man match, I actually won a dime off of him because that's all I had. I was so young. So I was like, I bet you 10 cents Shawn Michaels is going to beat him in the Iron Man match. It was one of the greatest things ever, man.
Yeah. What were some of the action figures that maybe you guys grew up playing with?
I think it was the Mattel ones, the ones that... the little guys that,
those old stocky, like WWF.
Yeah, there was one of Hulk Hogan that you only could do like a bear hug with, where he would open up, and then the ones that had like the military press that you could flip them off and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
I actually have that Hulk Hogan figure, the bear hug one.
Oh, really?
Still in a case.
Oh, really?
Like put away. Yeah. I kept a lot of those. I kept them at my mom's house, and I recently brought them out. I bought a display case, and I put like a bunch of those old figures in there. They're really cool.
Oh, dude, to have them still in the case, though, man. Not play with those things.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. They're not in the original package, but they're in the display case.
Okay.
I should.
Still, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's great playing with those ones.
Now, Gangrel is known as, one of those great wrestlers from the Attitude Era. Probably still one of the best times ever in wrestling. What is it like to train with Gangrel? I mean, I know I've met him personally. I've interviewed him. He's like the nicest guy in the entire world. But when you see him in the ring, he's pretty harsh. So I'm just kind of wondering what he's like as a trainer.
There's many ups and downs with that one. He's honestly one of the greatest trainers I've been with. I've been with 3 separate trainers. Hands down, one of the best structures, really cares about his students, really cares that we get the information he's trying to put down, and he's not teaching just moves and just this is how you pull it off. He's telling us about the psychology on why we do these moves and when we pull them out. He's honestly one of the greatest trainers I've ever had, and Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum is absolutely recommended by this guy right here. So
yeah, I came to my first actually Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum a couple months ago, and I think one of the hardest things as a wrestler, obviously you got to learn safety and technique and everything like that, but I think the most challenging, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, is getting over with the fans.
Yeah, that's a tough one that is, fortunately for me, has been something that I don't have a struggle with, and I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why, but it's that is definitely one of the most difficult things, is getting over and actually connecting with these people, because you not want to connect. I mean, you do want to connect with your opponent, you want to engage with your opponent, but it's all about the fans. That's why we come out here. That's the reason we have a show, is because people show up to watch us. So you got to engage with those people, man. It's one of the best parts.
Well, I can tell you, I've been so far at 2 of Gangrel's wrestling presentations, and I've sat next to your fan club both times, so it was very easily for us to learn who Steve was. The first time we came out, we didn't know who you were,
I'm sure.
But within like a minute, we're all in the audience, and we're all going, Steve, 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 and I'm like talking to my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, this Steve guy, he's pretty good, We're there watching you, but you know what? I think it's important to like have that fans and have that fan club, and you definitely do, and it definitely got you over, at least with us, because we learned who you were right away.
Well, that's amazing. I appreciate all the fans. I appreciate everyone that does the Steve chant, that rocks with me the entire time out there. I'm giving it all to you. You're giving it back to me, so I really appreciate that, especially from you too as well.
Now, one of the questions I do want to ask you is, we're here at Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum, and I thought growing up, one of the coolest factions was the Brood, okay?
Oh, my goodness.
Right? How cool was
Awesome.
the Brood back in the day?
They were so cool. That fire entrance coming out of that circle, oh my God.
Right, the music, actually when I was in college when the Brood was going on, and I actually used Gangrel's theme song in one of my final projects. Yeah.
I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
I get you.
No, yeah, I know. I may have to pay a little royalty fee here whatsoever. I'll donate to the cancer benefit.
There you
Here,
go.
give a little bit back. But let's just do a hypothetical situation.
Sure.
Okay, say the Brood was able to reunite. You've got Gangrel, you've got Edge, and you got Christian, and they throw out a challenge to Steve and any two opponents of his choosing from any time period.
Wow.
Who would you grab as your two guys to go up against the Brood?
Wow, that's definitely going to be a tough one. I cannot go anywhere without my partner TC Reed. Definitely got to bring Trev Dog over there with me. So that's one of them. To be honest with the second one, just because he's had a lot of run-ins with these people, probably have to go with Chris Jericho.
Okay.
He's on top of the world right now. So I mean, there's a ton of people that I could put in that place. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going with Chris Jericho.
Okay, I love Chris Jericho right now. I mean, there's definitely been such a resurgence in professional wrestling game. I think the interest now has gone, like right now it's ready just to go right through the roof. I mean, you've got so much. You got Raw, you got SmackDown, NXT, Impact, and now AEW. And AEW is doing some really amazing things. And Chris Jericho is definitely leading the way right now.
It's a beautiful time to be a professional wrestling fan. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
And now, just speaking of everybody knows professional wrestling on TV, but there's a huge independent scene that I think a lot of people like myself haven't been introduced to in a long time. And I remember going to independents back in the day. There was a FOW, and they'd be at the Davey Rodeo Arena. And to be honest, it was kind of like the matches were just kind of like a bunch of old timers wrestling, and it wasn't very exciting. But I think the independent scene now is like a 180 from where it used to be, and I think people are really missing out if they're not checking out their independent shows, because I think we're getting to see not only like a lot of like really good old school people, but a lot of up and comers like yourself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and it definitely is an amazing time for all wrestling, including independent wrestling. Down here in the south side of Florida, we're definitely trying to take over Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum. We're trying, so we need the support. But it's a great time to have independent wrestling anywhere. And like you always say, you get your best bang for your buck, about $10 to $15 a show. This one's free, donation based. So, I mean, you can't miss out. You got to see it. It's a great, fun time. We put on a great show.
Yeah, you can't really ask for much more. I mean, yesterday, like, my girlfriend and I, we went to 2 movies yesterday.
Okay.
And it's like, one of the movies was really good. The other one was just okay. And it's kind of like, you spent more money at a movie than you would come into an independent show where you get to see, like, great action. So I think people are really missing out if they're not checking out these shows.
I agree totally. And like I was saying earlier, the fan engaging with the fans and being there, you get a lot of that with these shows. So it's awesome. It's awesome to have you guys be a part of it. Thank you so much for supporting. And you can't miss out on a GWA show.
That's for sure. Now, the last question before we let you go, because we know you have to get ready for your match today here at Gangrel's Wrestling Asylum, is Toned In Entertainment. We talk a lot of pop culture. We love wrestling and comics and movies and video games, everything. Does Steve have a very, very guilty pleasure movie? Some movie, that you just kind of kick back, you can laugh, you can have a good time with?
Well, when you say guilty pleasure, is this something that you're saying that I would be embarrassed if someone caught me?
Okay, let me
watching
give you an
this kind of
example.
thing?
Okay, one of my favorite movies of all time is The Goonies.
Okay.
Love The Goonies. Terminator 2.
Great.
But maybe a guilty pleasure movie for me, I don't know if you've ever seen it, there's a movie called The Wizard.
Oh, yeah.
Where the kid goes to California.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can put that movie on any time,
Really?
but I would
Okay.
never tell anybody that's
Right.
my favorite
That's what I
movie of
thought you were
all
gonna
time.
win.
Yeah.
I've set up a couple of these. I've kind of prepared myself. I love your channel. Support the channel. You got to do it now. Do it now.
See, he knows the ending. You got to go now.
You got to do it now. I'm honestly going to say I got 2 ninja movies on the back burner, 3 ninjas. It's a little embarrassing to, say you like Three Ninjas, but that movie, I just love it. It's so funny. It's free on YouTube right now. I don't know if that's a thing, but
There are actually some movies that are free.
yeah. So I can pop that in any time because of that. And then I'll probably say also another one that's free on there is Surf Ninjas. Don't know if you know either of these ones, but they're great movies. They're hilarious. The bad acting, I love it, man.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of bad acting, I know Hulk Hogan, I believe, was in one of those movies. It was like Three Ninjas at High Noon or Mega Mountains or something like that.
So definitely one of my guilty pleasures. Probably one of those movies.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining me here on Toned In Entertainment. And guys, you know what to do. Hit subscribe so we can bring you more great interviews like this.
Do it now.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.